Thank you guys for letting me come pee in your pod.
Whoa. This isn't 2 peas in a urinal cake.
Fair enough.
This is... I'm Derek.
And I'm Jared, and this is 2 Peas and a Pod.
You just got very blue.
Oh, yeah, my screen above me just turned on for some reason. Here, let me minimize that. Back to normal there.
Okay, I was just like, whoa. You're going for a blue man group, like the Smurf thing or something.
I got all the screens up right now. I've been trying to multitask. It's been a busy month, man. Every time we get on this thing, we talk about it, but being an adult sometimes gets to be a little excessive. I got moved finally here in the Mankato area, so that's super cool. Got moved to my new house, just started my new job, well, sort of new job. Had some internet problems, which sounds like a basic thing for me. It seems. Took like a week to get the internet, and then it wasn't connecting. So that's cool there. That took some time. And then moving sucks. It's not fun. So, but finally settled, finally organized, so we can get back to this weekly thing we call a podcast.
Yeah. Hopefully it stays weekly. TBD.
That's true. TBD. But we do have to be more consistent for our viewers because
I agree.
I hear that we do somewhat okay at this thing. Like, we're okay at it. So it'd be nice to get more consistency for everyone that wants to hear about our mediocre lives and the fun things we talk about.
Yeah, the stupid rants that we get on and what topics we may cover.
Yeah, arguments that we have. It's fun.
Yeah, that's still putting a pin in that one till probably be a good in-person topic, I think, just because then as we try to train track over top of each other, it's less of a technical issue type thing.
Right.
So,
right.
Because I think, when you have conversations of passion, it looks a lot like a presidential debate. If there's no mic cutting, then they're going to just talk over each other.
Right. And then we can have an audience that can roar and rant with us, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
did you watch the debate, by the way?
The newest one?
Yeah, Kamala and the Kamala or the Camilla?
I did.
How do we say it? How do you say it? You say it either way.
Kamala.
Kamala? I say Kamala. Kamala Harris.
Because it's Kamala. Kamala.
Kamala?
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
No one can pronounce my name, so I don't feel bad about not pronouncing their name.
Put it in a comment down below how you say it. And I want to see true dictionary style pronunciations.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we can read those and go over them.
Yeah,
and find out if we can read even. Yeah, it'll be great.
I still don't know if I can read. I mean, I see shapes and signs and stuff, and I figure it out. But no, so I did watch most of it. I think it was the same song and dance as last debate. I got to a point where I just couldn't handle it anymore because it turned into a lot of stretching the truth and just a lot of arguments of back and forth. No, it's not that way. Yes, it is. No, I didn't. Yes, it is.
He said, she said stuff, right?
Yeah,
he said, she said. Yeah, 100%.
I think some of the biggest points were when Trump was you've been in office for 4 years and you're going to wait till you're the president to take care of it. Why aren't you doing this now if this is your plan or if this was your plan all along? And then she was like, well, what about your, plan 2025? Some huge government
Project
plan.
2025, which is not a Donald Trump plan. It's put on by the conservative coalition group every single year. As a matter of fact, Project 2025 would have came across Joe Biden's desk when he was running, and it probably has now come across Kamala Harris's desk at this point.
Yeah.
So that
it's just a lot of back and forth, and I feel like they didn't really solve a lot of they didn't talk about the key issues and what they're gonna do to fix it. It was just a lot of fighting. And I don't know. Yeah. I think that's just kind of how it is because that's what it all turns into. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's Trump and Kamala's piece. It was when Biden was there. It was 4 years ago when Trump and Biden were fighting for re-election, all that stuff. So I can only handle so much of politics. I'll be honest with you. I'm not big into it because I'm one of those guys, and I get every vote counts, but I'm one of those guys that it's just, I'm in the Midwest. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me very much, and there's so much conspiracy behind all that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. It is weird. A lot of mudslinging politics. I would definitely agree with that. One thing I'll say to you though is, to be honest, most people get really excited every 4 years for the presidential election because it's the one that tends to be top of mind and top of news. But I think the media does a huge disservice for people making that one seem like the big one. At the end of the day, you should be doing a little bit of research on your local politicians, and finding out what they actually stand for, because they actually do affect your day-to-day life more than likely.
Right.
Yes, does the big stuff affect it? Absolutely. The presidential nominee or the president does have definitely a role. So does Congress. They also have a role. But you are going to see far quicker and more effective changes happen at your grassroots level of your local officials, and they get far less publicity, and you don't know much about where they stand, so you have to do a little bit of research. And those are the votes where your vote literally does actually matter. Like 100%, your vote could be the difference between them winning or losing.
And I'm not saying, just to clarify with everyone, I'm not saying you shouldn't vote or that it doesn't matter. I just haven't done a good job at doing it, nor do I make a point to do what Derek is saying about digging into local amendments or local bills or local politicians, that kind of stuff. Should I? Probably. Maybe I'll look at that this fall because it is coming up. So new place, new town. My town is smaller. I technically live outside of Mankato, so it's only like 3,000 people. So with that's that, good. It might be more impactful. So yeah. So anyways, that's my take on the debate. So
yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think it was very. So I think Kamala actually did a very good job, in my opinion. I think did better than I expected her to, and I think Trump did Trumpish things that I think he should have avoided. Yeah. He just gets a little bit. Here's the thing. He invokes his base with that same kind of rhetoric that he always brings, but I am personally not a fan of it. At the end of the day, I like Trump because of his policy. That's one of the reasons that I've been a big fan of him, is I think his policy has done far better and been far more beneficial to me than the policies like what you're saying, or you said he said. I don't, those weren't your words. You're saying that Trump said that, which I actually agree with Trump on that. It's like, what's going to be different this next 4 years that you already haven't had the ability to do now? Yes, I know you're not the president, but let's be honest. Everybody thinks you're puppeteering the president to begin with because that dude's a couple brain cells from brain dead. So,
yeah.
So the idea that somehow it's going to be different. One of the things that she got actually called out on a recent interview was the fact that she was talking about how her track record as a DA shows that she'll be all these things. And she's talking, and she continues to focus on her time as a DA, How about your last 4 years as the vice president, probably the second most powerful person in the world? Right. What about that? What about your time in that? Where is your fruit of your labors in that? You're supposed to be the border czar, right? Remember, you were put in charge of one of the biggest issues that is immigration, and you throw it out that, Donald Trump stopped you from doing these things. Stop Congress. Well, that's because there was a bill with about 10% of its funding to the border and about 90% of it to foreign wars. And we said, no thanks. We're tired of this. So I don't know. That's my whole take on that. But all in all, I actually thought I'm just going to give her props where I think they're due. I think she outperformed what everybody expected because I don't think she's a very good interviewer. As long as she's got a script, she's able to kind of run it pretty well. And I think everybody that looked at how that debate was moderated would say she probably had the script.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I didn't like is they would fact check Trump live versus the other ones they wouldn't. So part of that is kind of there, but it's neither here nor there. We know where the media usually stands, right? On who they would like. So it's nothing new in the last 8 years. So, but yeah. So other than that, I think we got one more debate before the election, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll hopefully. See. Hopefully, there's a whole lot of memes of Kamala dragging Trump to it. So we'll see if that's actually. I mean, I think he will want to do it, but I think he's going to set some stingier terms on how it gets played out. He's not gonna go to neutral ground possibly.
Yeah.
Or neutral ground, let's call it, right?
Right. So
that's one topic, right? What else do we got going on? We've done a lot of discussions about people touching people that don't want to be touched on this channel. And there's been some bomb drops. Diddy the Diddler is one of the hashtag Diddy Diddler. I think it's what the Diddler. One of the things. So
that and we actually touched on Diddy. I think no pun intended.
Yeah, we did. That was one of the last things we talked about for sure.
Back in May, I think we talked about it. How there was some rumblings, and then
raids.
All of a sudden, well, it wasn't technical. Well, it was his
property,
drug mule or whatever, right?
His drug mule got the former NCAA player and stuff, right?
On September 16th, he is arrested in Manhattan and indicted by a grand jury. Let me read the charges to you, because this, and I hope to God this comes to fruition, but this is cracking open Hollywood, as we've talked about before as well. So, he unseals charges against Combs, racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, alleging he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill sexual desires, protect his reputation, and to conceal his conduct. That's a lot. And it's over years. Between 1995 and 2001, there was a lawsuit for in New York about some girl taking ecstasy, forcing her to take ecstasy. So this goes back potentially 30 years almost.
Yeah,
wild.
I saw some people. Now that person was underage. How old were they? 16, 17 or something?
It doesn't say on here.
Okay.
It just
I've
says
seen some people saying,
yeah, it was just a lawsuit over sexual assault.
Okay, because I've seen some people kind of being like, oh, it's because they're trying to paint that it's a black versus white issue, and they're saying that Hugh Hefner, for instance, did this all the time with his girls, like had these basic, what do they call it?
Freak-offs.
What they call freak-offs.
Freak-offs.
That they're like, Hefner's been doing freak-offs since the 70s, but because he's white and he's rich, it didn't matter. It's like, okay, well, rich, Diddy's probably actually wealthier, so that's not an equal equivalence. Like, if anything, he had more money to kind of hide this sort of stuff. And I would also say that the other thing is, they talk about, for instance, the grooming that Hefner did, and it talks about him giving a 19-year-old drugs. And I would say that is different just by legalese of the law. It could be argued that a woman is physically mature actually at the age of 16. I'm not one of those people that takes that stance. I actually think that maturity is less about the physical biological essence of it and more about brain development, which if we want to classify adults based on brain development, you go to 25, which is when most adults have, I think, rounded out brain development. So that's when I would really truly say that people are adults, in my opinion. And then on top of that, I have, as a person that has managed individuals, know that there are 40 and 50-year-olds that do not succumb to what I would call adult-like maturity. So I think it's such an obtuse kind of thing to say what's maturity. And I think we have as a community kind of stapled it as 18, even though there are like tons of states that have, I think only like 3 or 4 states actually have a consent age of 18. But so, even so, in all states, it's covered by 18. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the age of consent is 16 in the following states: Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Connecticut, Georgia, Hawaii, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, and Maine. Just to put on your point. So so I'm not.
It's not 18 across the board.
Correct.
But
I'm not saying that's right. But
no, neither am I. Neither am I. I'm just saying that I think when we look at that though, there is a very black, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you think that somehow at 17 years old, 364 days, all of a sudden it's wrong, but then tomorrow on my birthday, all of a sudden it's right. I think like that makes zero sense. Like somehow there was a transient change in a person's physical, mental,
psychological being.
Yeah, that changed like that. Like that's just that's nonsense, and nobody believes that or agrees with that. But we have set the precedent that 18, I think, is what most people would agree with as a age of consent. And when this Hugh Hefner is grooming, is what they called it. So I'm going to just use that term. Somebody that's 19 years old. But then on the other side, we have situations where I believe, again, the story you're quoting doesn't say that, but I could have sworn I saw that they were 17 years old. Those are differences based on the way that we have labeled consent in this nation. At 19 years old, you can make the decisions for yourself, doing drugs or not. I don't agree with it, but it is what they're doing versus doing it with a 17-year-old. We all agree absolutely that is right. Child abuse.
Right.
Right.
So right. So whether Hugh Hefner did it or not, different
doesn't matter either.
He's dead. He's dead. And also too, and not to make the allegations less for him, but back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, man, it's a different world. It was an absolutely different world too. It's like it's like comparing apples to oranges. Not saying either one was right, but back to Diddy, all I can say is, one, that dude's going away for a long time.
As he should.
2, 1,000 bottles of baby oil, bro. Like, I mean, you could fill a swimming pool with that, right? Like, I mean, you could get pretty close. What's an average ounce of baby oil? 16 ounces? 8 ounces?
I don't know. I don't buy a lot of baby oil, bro.
Let's ask Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson how many baby oil bottles he uses a week. But but seriously, 1,000 cup. Like, did he just have a room with boxes and boxes of baby oil from Johnson & Johnson or what?
Yeah, but I think 1,000 sounds like a really big number, and it probably is. Like, it is probably a really large amount, but it's kind of like, a suitcase with $1 million. Like, they always show these big suitcases just packed full of money, but then what is it in? Is it in Dodgeball or whatever? He opens the case and it's just like a single stack, and he's like, "Yeah, that's what $100,000 actually looks like, right?" Or so, I think that's Dodgeball that does that, and it's like it's so funny.
How many liters are in a bottle of wine? Baby oil. Talk amongst yourselves.
You said bottle of wine because it started auto-filling for that, or what?
Yeah.
Germs of soak, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll say that they were 14 ounces. Right? How many
So 14,000 ounces?
Ounces are in a liter. Because I'm the stupid. So 1 liter has 33 ounces. Oh, okay, I gotta do some quick math here. So
414 liters.
Times.
I already gave it to you. 414 liters.
For what? For 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
Yep.
So how many? 400. What?
414.
Yeah, that's not close. That's not really even close to an Olympic-sized swimming pool, but you get my point.
How big is an Olympic-sized swimming pool?
Olympic-size swimming pool is roughly, let's see, how many liters? 2.5 million liters in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. So that answers
how many?
that. 2.5 million liters.
2.5 million liters.
So liters.
That would be there would be a puddle in the corner of baby oil.
We don't know what the size of the baby oil. It could have been the big old 30 ouncer. You don't know.
Baby's got gallon juggers. Oh my gosh! Even so, that's only 1,000 gallons. Yeah. Which there's 500,000 gallons in an Olympic swimming pool. So we're not filling a pool, folks. Or maybe we're filling one of Joe Rogan's polar plunge.
Yeah.
In setting the ground things.
All I'm saying is, it's still a lot, dude. It still is.
It still is a lot of baby oil.
I think let's talk about the broader scope, because we know. We don't know all the allegations. The court's going to be a year from now. Oh, sidetrack. Did you hear what the bail amount was for him and what it got denied?
Like they were No, I don't know anything about it.
He tried to post bail. He offered $50 million, his mom's house and his house as collateral for bail, and the judge said nope.
Well, yeah, he's a flight risk, so they're probably not going to allow bail.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, good for that judge to not go, I could take $50 million into the court system and put it into, the whatever city or whatever, and
but it doesn't work that way. You get so there's a bail and bail bond, and so you only have to put up 1/10 of what your bail amount potentially is.
Yeah,
and then it can be returned, and then it'll be returned to you so long as you abide in the court. So it doesn't necessarily go into the legal system. And then again, a bail bond is like, so you put up 1/10, and then basically another company or organization says that they're going to hold the other 9/10. I think is how that works. In collateral, well, it's like insurance.
But
it's like insurance to it.
He'd never come back. Like he would be gone.
Yeah, he'd be gone. He'd be in the wind.
So, but I think the bigger thing that we need to talk about here is the list of, they're saying, up to 50 names of Hollywood's finest that have been collaborated or
release the list
of these freak offs, as
maybe they got that Epstein list all at the same time.
Right. So I'm curious, and some of the names that they dropped: Usher, Beyonce, Kevin Hart. They're saying that are potentially on these lists.
Black Epstein.
There's a circulation of there's a video of Kevin Hart singing with a girl at Diddy's house, and there's like a girl in the bathtub where his hair catches on fire, and like they stopped the video that's been circulating and stuff. Like there's some stuff that should be coming out, and I hope that there's more arrests made, because if this is a real thing, and it's kind of what we talked about again, right, with the Hollywood is Heaven on Earth podcast.
Yeah,
like, we don't know what happens in there, and it's just a cesspool of egotistical people that think that they're above the law. And hopefully this is the start of something better, I guess.
Yeah, well, Jim Carrey said it best a few years back. He said, I don't think Hollywood's the cool kids anymore.
Yeah.
He had a couple things wrong. Yep, you're not the cool kids, and you haven't ever been the cool kids. You were a bunch of art major kids. But then, two, you're right, because you're a bunch of child diddlers, more than likely. And that, I think, was made apparent with the Epstein list.
Yeah.
And I will say this, if the Diddy list comes out before the Epstein list does, which it probably will, it goes to I think there would be a good claim for white justice versus black justice, to be honest. And then on top of that, it would also showcase that there's a lot of politicians on those lists. And that list needs to come out, because we need to get child diddlers out of not the White House specifically, but out of politics. Those people do not need to be making decisions for our country. It's a big like racketeering scam, right?
So yeah, and there's a alleged list out now circulating circulating social media. The alleged list contains names of Leonardo DiCaprio, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Ashton Kutcher, Paris Hilton, Howard Stern, Russell Brand, Mariah Carey, Jennifer Lopez, Russell Simmons, Usher, Megan Fox. The list goes viral as Usher, Pink delete their X theories and tweets, and that Justin Bieber may have been a victim of Diddy's float around.
Yeah, dude. I do think Biebs is a victim in a lot of this, and that's kind of like child exploitation. Child exploitation is kind of the thing that I definitely see in Hollywood when you look at the Olsen twins, you look at Hilary Duff and Justin Bieber, and a lot of those. I mean, Mac Miller. Why did Mac Miller kill himself?
Right.
Why he was doing good, but I think again it's that they bring them in, they groom them into these people, they take advantage, they say dance monkey dance and you'll get your way, and they sell their souls, but they sell their souls before they're an adult and can make cohesive decisions for themselves.
Right.
Well,
look at some of these folks. I mean, Justin Bieber, for example, right? Him and Usher were super close, and Usher took him under his wing. Well, Usher was named on one of these lists, right?
Yep.
And then what was one of the things that came out? There's no party like a Diddy party. And if you look at Eminem, who's been a major hater,
his rap lyrics,
P. Diddy, his lyrics, I didn't know it until someone did a super stitch on all his lyrics, calling out like the parties, and all this stuff that just people threw under the rug. Like, and of course, all these people know about it, right? Even if
RAPER. Oh, did I forget a P in that Diddy?
Right. But there's also more before that. Like, there's so many like instances even before like Kill Shot. There's so many references about P Diddy and like how things have been swept under the rug and this kind of stuff, and like being a child molester, that kind of thing. But
and I think it runs. There's Cat Williams kind of said it on the Shannon Sharp show too. He talked about how he could have been. He says he would have been, should have been, could have been, all the things that Kevin Hart is, but he wasn't willing to suck nobody's dick for it.
Right.
That's literally what he said. Right. And so he goes, so you're saying Kevin Hart? He goes, I'm not saying Kevin Hart did. I'm just saying I had all those opportunities, but I wasn't willing to. So, you can fill in the blanks however you want to fill in the blanks.
Yeah. It's sad. I mean, but I'm curious to see what happens. And of course, this is going to take a long time to process. I think the feds are playing this one super close to the vest, which they should, because all these people involved have a lot of money and they could be gone tomorrow. And if they really want to make a difference, I think they're trying to be very strategic, because once they start raiding like this person's house, or arresting these people, the bottom of the list are going to be gone. They're going to fly, right? I guess I would think, but who knows?
Well, they got a bunch of new IRS agents with guns. They can just kind of like pseudo them into the FBI for a short period to just get a really big like raid sting group going. So, I mean, they did sign up and say they were willing to use a gun if they needed to. That was a question on the new IRS form when they were vetting all those people, and every American was like, "Why does the IRS need to be able to use a gun? Aren't they like accountants or something?"
It's like the movie The Accountant. That's what that is.
That's a good one, bro. I actually like that. He's like autistic or something,
but he knows how to shoot. Yeah, he's His dad, his dad, all that. That's a good show. Check it out.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yep. Ben Affleck. Yep. He's not always good. He's not a good Batman.
No.
Neither is the vampire, though. But I don't mind.
As things come up, we will definitely inform you guys if you guys are not already informed. We are more than happy to help inform. Also, too, just aside, when he goes to jail, I think I was reading an article. He's on suicide watch list right now, too. He's in prison.
Oh,
potentially. But
like he's on a watch list to be suicided, because that's usually how these types of things go. Like I said, Black Epstein.
No, like they're saying that he might try to kill himself, and I don't know if it's true. I don't know what the factual base is.
Sure, he will. I did air quotes for the listeners at home. Sure, he will try to kill himself. Dude, these people don't want to kill themselves. This is their life. This is their best life.
He's never getting out, though. And when people find out,
he doesn't think prison, that. He does not think that.
He's an idiot. I'm sorry.
He doesn't think that.
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to be able to get himself out. I guarantee you, nobody that's amassed that much power has any concept of consequences.
Right.
They are so determined, and they have gotten their way so much in life. And I'm not saying like gotten their way like they were handed. I don't believe Diddy he scraped and clawed his way into power. And so do you think they're going to relinquish what they have easily? Absolutely not. We trade in dollars, and we think that we somehow taste power with money that we accumulate. These people are actual power brokers.
Yeah, I agree. But what I will say, and this is something that's was impactful when I heard it when I was reading or listening to a story about it, when they find scrubbed AR-15s in a home, and that's not the top of the list of allegations, you know it's bad, right? Serial numbers are scrubbed off AR-15s in a home, and that's not the leading article. He's screwed, because they found footage and evidence of all these freak-offs and stuff. Like, when you scrub a firearm, AR-15s, you scrub, I don't know how many, right? And that's not the top of the list. Like, there's a problem, and they're going to go away for a long time.
The only thing that I would just counter with is who's making that list. Is the media that's putting out the list of the bullet points of like, these are the charges, and that's not the top of the list? Or is it the actual arresting body? Because I could see the media just saying these are the splashier, although the media is really good at being like illegal firearms. Although, again, they don't, so a lot of times they're not going to focus on the firearm, because what they're doing with the firearm is already illegal. It's not like he has legally owned firearms They don't want to talk about legally owned firearms. So that's where I'm kind of going with it. Like, that's my mind and how I'm thinking about that. So I don't know what your opinion, like, if that's what you're thinking or not.
I don't know who came out with a list, but normally, like, the media is all about illegal firearms, right? Especially nowadays. So for them not to be like blaring those headlines and talking about like the racketeering and the sex trafficking, I have to feel that there's a lot more validity to those charges than just, you know, throwing out accusations like that.
Yeah, and I could see that for sure. I think what he did is egregious. It's high likely that he sexually abused children, other adults, use that stuff against them in like a racketeering, as well as like, you know what I mean? Like, to get his way. Like I said, brokering power. Like, I have something over you, which is, we will get a glimpse inside based on this, because I don't think, again, I always bring it back to Epstein, because I think the Epstein list holds far more keys to the city than the Diddy list. I think the Diddy list is probably a lot of black culture people. I'm sure there's you'd listed Leonardo DiCaprio and celebrities, but again, I think has politicians. And honestly, I've never looked at actors and celebrities as some moral authority, but when we elect our political officials, we kind of do expect them to be the best of our best, and they're not. Right. And I think maybe, and I'm not even saying like, I don't think anybody believes that politicians today are our best of our best. Most of them would say that's not true. It would be great, because I think that's the ideal, though, is that they are our best of our best. I just don't think that's what we get anymore.
No, because I would agree. So good. I mean, I don't know how much better to say it than that. So I'll agree. So I mean, that's it. That's just I mean, I never grew up wanting to, and I'm not saying I'm perfect or some like highfalutin guy, but I never wanted to get into politics. I never wanted to do anything like that. So I think people that do, sometimes they do it for the wrong reasons, for some power, culture, maybe, power holding. And that's not the right way to do it. Is to make a change if you want to be a politician. And not saying all of them are like that. But I think there's quite a few handfuls, and I don't think the cream of the crop, as they say, we get with politicians all the time. But that's also true, I guess, in any business, any part of the world now. I think we talked about it again, and we'll bring it up because we like to be creatures of habit. I think social media is the start of the destruction of our world.
Brain rot.
And I think it only shows the good things and hides the bad things. And people want to be so much like the people on these social media sites. They want to look like them. They want to have fun like them. And there's more to it. As with Diddy, like, he has everything he could ever want in his life, right? Money, fame, nice things, beautiful women, friends, whatever you want to call it. But behind all of that is a dark, dirty secret. Yeah, you know, and it was enabled by, I don't want to say social media, but it was enabled by the powers that we give these folks in Hollywood or in famous places.
Yeah, well, I think if you really want to boil it back and start over the Kardashians, because they're the most wannabe, you know what I mean? Like, that's where it all. If anybody looks in social media, who do they model that style of? Right, like, not Desperate Housewives, but like, that's what they go for, is they're like model after Kardashians, because Kris did the best job ever of kind of marketing her family and helping them become icons. Like, they have nothing that they brought to the table other than they sold beauty. But they did. Here's the thing, though. They did do it right. I'm not saying, like, they took what they had and they made something out of it. You have like the D'Amelio sisters, who were like super big on TikTok. They try to put out all these bunk products and stuff like that. They grew super fast. They sold pretty off the bat, but eventually that went away and died because they did it wrong. So they can, I will like tip my cap to the fact that the Kardashians, I think, did what they did, and they did it really well, because a lot of people have like squandered those great opportunities.
I would take it.
Do you think they got something dark? Do you think the Kardashians got something dark back there?
Let's take it a step further back. How did the Kardashians become famous?
The name does carry weight because of the O.J. Simpson trials.
Correct. So I get it's not all of that, but
that's where they got their money, though.
Correct. The money.
The TV show was
correct, but the money came from the lawyer who protected OJ during the trials, and that money was used to facilitate a name, create a brand, and branch off in that kind of thing. So, which again relates right back to what we talked about. OJ was a famous person, football player, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Did some dirty, dark stuff that was never proven. It was allegedly. He was allegedly.
The glove didn't fit.
Right. And here we are. Right. So where did it all perpetuate from?
Yeah.
So, but
a dark story. You're saying.
Right. Right. Something dark from fame.
So is there something deeper though with the Kardashians? Because I mean, Bruce, aka Caitlyn Jenner, you know, they turned him into a woman.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think
triathlete, or was he a decathlete? I think it was a decathlete. Maybe, I don't know. Either way, he was a glory story for America. You know what I mean?
Be careful with how you word that.
A glory story. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I think that I agree. There's usually a dark past, but that's human nature. We all have dark pasts, and when you get put in the spotlight, those things are going to come out. And so you were talking about never wanting to be a politician. I wouldn't say I've ever wanted to be a politician. Like growing up, that was never something for me. But now today, I think about wanting to do it, just like I think about wanting to be a police officer or things of that nature. Like, I don't think I can complain about a problem while simultaneously not getting involved. That's kind of my juxtapose of it. It's not that I really want to. I would be willing to if for some reason it seemed like I was the best option to be it. And I don't ever think that about myself. I would have to be like encouraged to do it. You know what I mean? Somebody would have to be like, we need this. Would you be willing to? And then I would say, well, if you say you need it, then yeah, I'll do it.
Makes sense. So, well, he was a decathlete. He won the gold medal and broke the world record in decathlon in 1976 during the Olympic Games. So
nice.
Good for him.
It was Cold War times.
Yeah.
We needed to beat them Russians.
Them dirty Russians.
Yes, they were dirty Russians. They were all. Have you ever seen Icarus?
Yeah.
They were all steroided out. So.
All right, buddy. Well, I think we got back into this. I think that's our time for the day. We've had a lot to talk about with Diddy and catching up, but we'll have to do this again, huh? Maybe we should start doing this again more often.
Yeah. Diddle you later, though.
Diddle you later. So, all right. Well, until next time.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Jared. And this is Two Peas and a Pod.
Peace.